What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 25, the big 2-5. And just 11 days away from the NFL draft. And today we are going to be going over every team's biggest need going into the big day. Of course, some picks are pretty self-explanatory. We're not going to waste time on the Titans, for example. Everyone knows they're going Cam Ward. There's no point in even having any sort of conversation about it at this point. So it's going to be fun because it'll be a good mix of talking about what the team actually has on the roster NFL-wise and what some of these college prospects can do for them. So this is going to be a good one.
It will be because there's kind of like you said, there's some teams where we don't have to talk about them much. But there's some teams where I've seen at least 10 to 15 guys mocked in the same exact spot. So this is more to try and break that down and narrow down what actually would be good value, what the team actually needs, and who might actually realistically even be there. So this will be fun. I like how this one's set up.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because I feel like there is a lot of uncertainty with what's going on, but there are some mocks I see and I'm like, that player, there's no fucking chance in hell he's going to be available at that spot. I feel like I'm thinking that a lot when I look at other people's mocks. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if that happens even here. We're going to kind of go through it. Not mock, it's not a mock, but we're going to be keeping a mock in mind because we're not going to be talking about, Will Johnson being available at pick 31. That's just not happening.
But I see it all the time. I see it all the time. So you know what? We're a little smarter than that, but
yeah, we won't waste your time.
Like you said, probably just kind of skip over number one.
Yeah.
There's been a little bit smoke screens here and there talking about Titans still could go Travis Hunter. They still could go Abdul Carter. No, it's Cam Ward.
Yeah.
You can pencil that one in.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, QB Miami. That's all. That's their biggest need. Best player available for them. Lock it in. But
yeah,
it's pretty rare, honestly, talking about the Browns for there to be a big decision at 2. Usually there's a best available player, and then the rest of the draft. So for them to have 3 options and have no idea who they're getting here is kind of crazy.
Yeah, with that said, I have to ask you, and this was something I was very passionate about, is the signing of Joe Flacco. It happened the last 2 days ago or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to ask you what that meant for the Browns in your mind.
I have no idea because it either means that they're gearing up to run with Flacco, Pickett, and whatever Watson can produce this season, or they're just going to have 3 veteran quarterbacks and a rookie. Maybe, somehow get rid of Watson, get rid of Pickett. I don't know what they're going to do. It almost still feels like they're just gearing up to go without drafting one early. I don't know. This feels so weird because Flacco is the ultimate mentor, right? You'd love to have that, but they're going to have 4 quarterbacks on this roster that all were starters within the last 3 years. It's so weird.
Yeah, my immediate reaction was confusion, but also I thought it reinforced the idea of drafting Shedeur because I just cannot fathom going into the season over the next 5 months, game planning and preparing with your starting quarterback being one of the 3 guys they have on their roster. I feel like that would be almost clear tanking evidence. That has to be investigated to some effect.
You
cannot let a team go into the season with those options. Seriously, if it happens sometimes when you get someone hurt and then Joe Flacco's in your lineup, fine.
Yeah.
But I just can't see it. That's I wouldn't want to play. If I'm Myles Garrett, if I'm 30, I get you just paid me a gajillion dollars, but if he was that adamant about wanting to contend to some effect, then you have to feel blindsided a little bit if this is how they're going into the year.
And the weird part to me is that the Browns, they could use Abdul Carter, they could use Travis Hunter, but edge and corner/receiver are arguably 2 of their stronger spots today. They have Myles Garrett, they have guys like Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, they have decent receiver play in Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman. So Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter slightly upgrade them at those positions, but getting Shedeur Sanders is their new starting quarterback. So if they go like anywhere else at 2, like they're still a terrible team. They still don't have a quarterback. So it's like, do you pick the maybe 30th best player in the draft with a dire team need, or do you go with the second and first best player in the draft? I don't know. I still don't have an answer.
It doesn't seem like anyone does. I do follow a couple people that are pretty involved with the Browns, Anthony being one of them, Anthony Reinhardt. Corey Kinnunen. I can never remember how he pronounces his name. Are you familiar?
I am not.
No, he does work with reception perception with Matt Harmon, I believe. He works with the quarterbacks. I could be wrong. But anyway, he's also a Browns fan. And I was tweeting at them like, this has to mean Sanders, right? And they both told me, actually, no, this means Hunter. And I don't know. I just see it differently. And I would get maybe if Watson was on the radar of being a potential option, then perhaps this makes sense. But even still, like, they want him out of the lineup for as long as possible, because we talked about it in the Browns episode we did. They are going to be getting more money with more time that he misses because of this insurance policy in place. So they're going to want to keep him off the field for as long as possible. So at least Flacco and Pickett, like, you can't be serious. Like, you can't. I don't know. But yeah.
Jeez Louise. I don't know. I mean, so either way, it's Shador, it's Travis Hunter, or it's Abdul Carter. Like, there's not really a lot of options here, but I would feel safe betting my entire house that it's one of those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Hunter and Abdul Carter, elite value. Both, I'd probably say, the only 2 blue chip players in this draft. But the quarterback need is so bad that it looks like they might end up taking one, if you're right. But I don't know. I feel Travis Hunter momentum pretty strongly.
Oh, yeah. I trust those guys way more than I trust myself when it comes to a Browns selection. So if they're saying it's Travis with pretty strong confidence, then I'm going to take their word for it, but it just still doesn't feel right at all.
It doesn't. But Travis Hunter could also go. He's going top 3. Like, I feel like we can confidently say Travis Hunter will not escape the top 3, because I think if he falls, I think the Giants scoop him up and don't think twice. Like, they have needs at corner and receiver. He can do both. That's a slam dunk. A+ to get the best player in the draft at 3, in my opinion. But it's really him or Abdul Carter. Like, I don't see them going Shador anymore after getting Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I don't see that.
Right. That's kind of the thing too. Going back to the Browns for a second, it's like Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, and Joe Flacco doesn't equate to Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Like, that's not the same situation.
No. I would take either of them over the Browns quarterbacks right now. I would take Jameis Winston over any Browns quarterback currently. Russell's better than him. Like, he was bad for a starter last year, but like, he still wasn't awful in the grand scheme of things. So he can tank them to 6 wins next season. Get their quarterback then. But getting Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter on that team, like, that changes the landscape of their roster. So that has to be the pick for them, Hunter or Carter.
Yeah, I think Carter at this point is going to be, assuming a quarterback not named Cam Ward is also taken in the top 3, then I think Abdul is the odd man out. There's so much Hunter momentum right now, specifically to Cleveland. Like, I think Carter is the odd man out in that case. But that would leave him for New England, who would also make a slam dunk selection, I think. But who knows? Mike Vrabel might feel differently.
They should. I mean, their defense still isn't good. I mean, I know there's this idea that we have to, like, help Drake May. You have to help Drake May, but you can also help him by, like, not making him not score 30 points a game to win. It's pretty important, and their defense sucks. Like, they have Keon White is probably their best edge defender, but he's not like a pass rusher, though. He's not like a productive pass rusher. So Abdul Carter would legitimately change the landscape of this defense. But Will Campbell can also play left tackle or left guard. So I would be shocked if Abdul Carter's off the board. Say Sanders doesn't get taken top 3. I think Will Campbell is the only selection for the Patriots at that point. And that's the only person I've been mocking this whole entire time.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be Carter or it's going to be Campbell. It's really it. And I wouldn't be that angry with Campbell over Carter, and then you go from there. But I think, there's really not much else to say. New England's got a couple options, and they can't make the wrong choice.
No, they can't. And then, like, Same with Jacksonville. Like back to back, it almost feels like the first overall pick is chalk. Browns and Giants, no clue. But then the Patriots and Jaguars, I feel like we know. Because Mason Graham is the only single person that I've ever seen mocked to the Jaguars, and rightfully so. Mason Smith is terrible. They don't have any depth. Like, they need defensive line horribly. Mason Graham's a top 5 player in the entire draft for me, so I think that'll be a slam dunk to get him too.
Yeah, I think I saw Will Johnson there the other day. I'm like, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be mad purely because Johnson's that good, but this is a team that, as bad as they were, they really don't have that many glaring issues outside of interior defensive line. So it feels just like a square piece in a square hole. So why even try to divert from that?
I could see them. I know I've heard the argument from a Jags fan about like Will Campbell trying to replace Brandon Scherf.
I saw that too.
But the value is just You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Will Campbell makes your team significantly better. I think he just kind of fills a hole.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not Joe Alt. He's not the Joe Alt level prospect that will like help your entire offensive line for a decade plus. But their offense does need help, and they just got an offensive minded head coach. So I could see them going line. However, like you said, their best defensive lineman's Devon Hamilton. And then their second best, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith. Like, that's awful. If they don't go Mason Graham right now, I would be really upset if I was a Jags fan. So
one of the top 4 guys has to be available, and that would have to be the pick for them to go anywhere else. Like,
right.
It has to be Campbell, Graham, Carter, or Hunter by some miracle.
Otherwise, if Hunter and Carter fall, sure. But yes. Yeah. I think we have said the Jags pick already. I doubt they reach on a Genty or another lineman, anything like that. I did see on NFL.com, though, someone there did mock Ashton Genty 5th overall to the Jaguars, and I about peed myself because why would I don't understand. I don't understand that. I hope he was just like trolling, but
it's just someone trying to be different. Someone's just trying to be different. It's just
I didn't check the date. It might have been April Fool's. It probably was, but
yeah,
because that would have been awful.
Well, the Raiders, we were talking about this concept prior to recording, and the Raiders were the first team to kind of really be that first unknown. And talking about all this momentum with Hunter to the Browns, there's a lot of momentum with Genty to the Raiders, and it kind of just came out of nowhere. Like, I feel like it was a thing before, and then it kind of died, and now we're here again. And it's like every mock I see, Genty Raiders, Genty Raiders, Genty Raiders. And I don't know. I've said it on this pod before. I'll say it again. It would be a bad selection in my mind for them to go with him. It just is.
Yeah. I'm not one of those people that hates running backs. I'm not someone that thinks that like their position is so valueless, but their team sucks. As it is now, their offensive line is mediocre. Their defense is terrible. It's only getting worse. They didn't upgrade at corner at all. They're actually losing corners as we speak. I think getting a running back is a luxury pick. Like the Falcons getting Bijan. They didn't have that many holes at the time. Like, they were a fairly well-rounded team. They had an okay record after that. I don't know. I think when you have other really, really good defensive players available, like Will Johnson, when you could upgrade at offensive line like Armand Membu, I feel like that has to be the pick. I think it has to be defense or Membu.
Yep, I agree. I think, like you said, the Raiders suck, and you put it very nicely. Running back is a luxury selection. It worked out with the Falcons because they didn't have any needs, and they took Bijan. Same thing with the Lions. People love to point to, the Lions reached for Jahmyr Gibbs. It's like they had every other fucking position figured out. Like, that's when you can reach and go for the players that you feel you really want. That's when you can go shopping. But now we're trying to fill out a team here. Like, we're not shopping with V-Bucks to go out and get a running back at 6th overall. Like, we need to fix our fucking franchise from the ground up. And a running back doesn't do that. Saquon didn't do that. One of the greatest running back prospects in history. He couldn't even do that for the Giants. So what is making you think that Ashton Genty is going to be the guy for the Raiders that somehow turns everything around? They would have to smash every other selection in this
Mm-hmm.
draft to make it seem like Genty was the reason. And he wouldn't be. He would just be part of it.
He would help.
Yes.
But like they need a core foundation of a team before you can go splashing on a running back. And like I might even agree if for whatever reason Memba was gone and Will Johnson was gone and every other good player was gone, but they'll probably be there. And I don't know. I think it would just be stupid because like it takes a few years to build a good solid foundation of a team. And they're still not even that close to that. Like there might be 2-3 years out from that. And by then, Genty will be 2-3 years into the NFL by then. He'll be, on a second contract, which running backs usually don't do so much better on. And you may have just wasted a couple really good, valuable years of his career. So, like, letting him go to somebody like the Bears would be a lot more interesting to me.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. But the Jets, talking about a team that I feel like is pretty set in stone. I feel like it's got to be a tackle. The only other position I've seen drafted here was tight end, and that was Warren. I saw that a couple times. I really don't think I have seen anything else. Really.
Yeah, I've seen a few ideas. Tyler Warren I get because Jeremy Ruckert is their current tight end, and that sucks. Like you cannot go into the season with Jeremy Ruckert at tight end. So I get it. I mean, currently right tackle, I think Carter Warren might be penciled in to be their starting right tackle. That's bad. And the right tackle, like the tackle depth in this class does not go well into the second and third round. Like they would have to really pray they get one of those guys. So going Membu, like I know it might not be like the sexy pick, especially when you imagine pairing up like Will Johnson and Sauce. That would be beautiful, but they don't have a right tackle at the moment. So this is one of those moments where I say like you get your team need because there's no depth left in the draft for it.
Yeah, that kind of speaks to the same thing with the Raiders too. I mean, I think we both agree that defensive back should be what they're going with at 6. It's all about the depth of each position too. It's like with corners, there's Jahdae Barron, there's Will Johnson, there's the guys at the back end of the first round. But after that, like if you miss out on that wave, which the Raiders probably ultimately would, they might get lucky with one of the guys earlier in the second round. But after that, like you're not going to be looking for a corner that's going to impact your team, likely at least at all. So you got to attack your team need. And same thing with the Jets here. It's, if you pass on a tackle now, when you need one that bad, who are you going to be playing a tackle confidently? Like you need to figure that out early.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Yeah. It's not Carter Warren. I promise. And Tyler Warren cannot be the pick because Tyler Warren can only exist in a good offense, like one that uses him creatively, one where he can line up in the backfield, get the ball in his hands, and go make plays. But their offense kind of sucks with Justin Fields throwing. They don't run the ball well, but despite having like 3 good running backs, they need to build an offensive line so they can start running the ball. That's more important than getting a tight end that can run the ball.
Yes, exactly. Right. It's like, oh, you take Tyler Ward and he can help the run game. It's like, well, why don't you just draft an offensive tackle to do that then?
Yes. A big, like 330-pound hyper athlete that just ran a 4.91. Like, I think he's the better option to help your running offense than the tight end that can take a snap or 2 a game in the backfield.
I mean, even in pass protection too, it's like, I know that the Jets do need weapons, but ultimately it's going to be on how much time you can give Justin Fields because a leopard doesn't change his spots. This guy is not great at making decisions. So the more time you can grant him, the better. You want to have an offensive tackle to help that out.
It has to be. It is Membu. It can be nothing but Membu. And that's why, like, we looked at a few mocks. We probably about maybe around 10 mocks. And Membu was the selection in almost every single one. And for good reason. So if he makes it past the Raiders at 6, he has to go to 7. Membu cannot get past the top 10.
Well, the last thing I'd say on that, too, is Warren might make sense purely because Justin Fields is their quarterback, and we know they're going to try and really run the ball, but he's not your long-term option. I can't imagine anyone in the Jets organization is saying, this is our franchise quarterback, so why would you make a pick at tight end and Tyler Warren to help your, at most, 2-year starter? You should be going for a franchise tackle that's going to help you for, really help you foundationally for the next 5, 7, 8 years. So
right.
It just would feel like a very present selection, which wouldn't make sense for them.
No.
The Panthers, though, another
The
team that,
easiest one. Yeah.
I mean, we all know what they need. They need edge rushing help. I do think you could argue defensive back. We talked about this with um fucking what's his name? Chris, thank you.
Cannon.
Yes, I always think of him as CC Cannon because it's his fucking username on TikTok. But Chris, we talked about it with Chris, and he was big on Will Johnson going here, but they just are so desperate for help at edge.
Yeah, I mean, like I know I've only heard Jahad Campbell as the only other option that I like for them, but he has a shoulder injury that might put him out till like even December.
Oh, wow.
And they are desperately in need of now help. Like they need help badly right now. And as of today, their edge rushers are Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Wanham. They got Patrick Jones. I don't care. Get Mike Green. Get Shamar Stewart. Even if they want to get Jalen Walker and kind of replace the Frankie Luvu role that they once had, like that's cool with me too. But as long as like their pressures increase this season, that's all I want to see. And
that's the popular
pick.
A lot of Jalen Walker. Like a lot of mocks is Jalen Walker. When I finalize my mock, that'll assuming that's what it still looks like, that's probably who I'll go with for them. But I don't know. I feel like Mike Green is closer to Abdul Carter than anyone is close to Mike Green at this point. Like I've grown that much on him. So he is, to me, by far edge rusher 2, and he's closer to Carter than he is to whoever your 3 might be for anybody. In my mind.
That's fair. So I mean, the dude's explosive, and like their entire thing is that they blitz a ton and they don't get home. But if you have a guy that might be top 3 pass rusher in the class, like you take him. I mean, assuming that his background check clears up.
Yeah,
there's some question marks, like some serious question marks there. But assuming that that's all good to go, he could easily be my pick there.
I mean, their defensive line you'd have a hard time running on them too. It's like, I know there's some more upside perhaps with a guy like Shamar Stewart, but his ability, Mike Green's ability to stop the run will forever, like everyone's so focused on how good he rushes the passer. But I think having such a high floor stopping the run too would be such a big help. Like the Panthers defensive front would be very difficult to run on, which would play into the hands of their secondary.
I think it will be already. I think people are sleeping on that. I think that like their additions are really, really underrated. So at this point, like that's kind of gives you the luxury of being able to just like pin your ears back and attack. And that's what Mike Green gives you. So I like Mike Green. I do like really any edge rusher you put here, even if it feels like a reach. They need it so bad.
Yeah.
Pick your poison. Like that's all you can pick here.
Yeah. I feel like they would be out of their mind to go anywhere else. And that it would be a bad pick if they did. It's got to be an edge.
Yeah.
The Saints, though, a lot of conversation can be had about the Saints because there's some Titanic-esque Ponzi scheme going on with Derek Carr. It would appear all of a sudden he's got this mysterious shoulder injury that's going to hold him out for the entire season. It's like, where the fuck did this even come from? And the weird part is that days before this came out, I was starting to see Shedeur to the Saints more and more and more. I'm like, why? Where's this coming from? And I thought maybe because, they're going to get rid of Carr somehow. That was all I could think of. But not this way. Like, this is like literally Titanic conspiracy theory-esque type shit. Like, they're going to try and injure him. Like, maybe someone punched him in the hallway and now he's like, like, who knows what happened? Like, did they hire somebody to do this? It's just so bizarre. So, who the hell knows? But Shedeur would be a bad pick. Let's just put that.
I just don't like it. Trade back, maybe. I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm not the world's biggest Spencer Rattler believer. But like, I don't think that the difference between him and Shedeur would be that crazy the rookie season. I don't think Shedeur is somebody that can come in and just ball off the bat. So if Derek Carr's hurt, like they would still need to go grab another free agent, in my opinion. They're just screwed if he's hurt. That's really all it is. Like they don't have great veteran depth. So they're screwed. And I think that if someone like Will Johnson is there, like that's a bigger need in my opinion. Because as of right now, their starting corners are Kool-Aid McKinstry, who up and down, and Isaac Yiadom. Do you feel cool with that if you're a Saints fan? Like, no. Rico Payton? Do you want Rico Payton to start playing? Alontae Taylor played last season and was like the worst corner in football for like the second half of the year. So they're screwed. They also have needs at defensive end. Carl Granderson was fine. Cam Jordan's like 1,000. And Chase Young is not who we thought he'd be, despite having an okay season last year. So Shamar Stewart, Will Johnson, I'm cool with any of these, but man, to slightly upgrade at quarterback over Spencer Rattler, in my opinion, and to downgrade from Derek Carr, I hate that. It's ugly. It's so ugly.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I think anything in the secondary, if Johnson's there, even if it's Jahdae Barron, although I think Johnson would be much better fit.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Mike Green still. It could be Ken Grant. Yeah. I think you can even that might be slightly rich, but they need help inside too. If they go almost anything on offense, I'd be disgusted with. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, their offensive line's fine. Their tight ends suck, but like, I don't know. That's not their most pressing need. Like again, tight end is a thing to me. It's like that's a luxury when you have a good team. You can finally go get your reach on your tight end. They don't have a good team as of today, so build from the foundation. Build your secondary. Build your D line, but don't touch skill positions. For the love of God, please don't do it.
I agree. So I think I would like to think they don't. Who knows? I mean, talk about how much of a bitch it already is to try and predictively mock. Now it's just got way worse. Like, forget it. Now there's no way I'm going to be able to guess. And also, to some effect, I feel like this puts more pressure on Cleveland to take Shedeur at 2, because now it's like he might not make it past the Giants, but now he might not make it past the Saints. He might not make it past the fucking Steelers. Like, if they want to trade back up into the first round, it's probably going to be late first. And at that point, I wouldn't bet on him being there at all. So they probably still won't take him based on what I feel like we're hearing. But I don't know. It just is so weird what went down this past weekend with both the Browns and the Saints. And it just is going to make our lives very hard when it comes to putting this mock together.
I'm going to stay true to me, and I'm going to give him defensive end, but
God,
quarterback, that sucks so bad.
Well, the Bears hopefully will be hopefully it'll go smoother for Chicago, because hopefully Genty's there, and then it's it. And that's it.
But if he's not, that makes it tricky, because they don't have a lot of pressing needs outside of running back, really. And that, I mean, I've heard some Marion Hampton love here at 10th overall. I can't get there. I cannot get there. I've seen some Tyler Warren. I've seen some Calvin Banks. I'm not in love with any of it, really. I feel like they're like the prime trade back candidate. And like, I try not to use that because everyone wants to trade back all the time, but they should.
Right.
They should.
I think almost too, like, they are in a position that can add some depth. Like, I think this is the first spot where I would be like, okay, Jalen Walker, this is the highest that I can put you comfortably for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, or even if Mike Green is still there, like, they can get anybody to help rush the passer. Like, when you're in a situation like Chicago and you feel like you're luxury shopping and your running back's gone, where else can you help your football team win immediately? And that is getting as many guys that can attack the opposing quarterback as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they have great options right now. I mean, Montez Sweat, cool. Deo, good luck pronouncing his last name. That guy's a risk. He was a risk signing to begin with. I feel like relying on him to be the fix or the opposing option to Montez Sweat, that's a lot to ask, I feel like. So that would be my next pick. Would be an edge rusher.
Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're the world's biggest Austin Booker fan, I'm really not. So, I don't know. I mean, the only thing that scares me about the Bears is that Ben Johnson is their coach, and I know he has some pretty heavy influence in who they draft. And Tyler Warren is like the wet dream of any coach that likes to be creative. Like, can win downfield, can win after the catch, can win short. Like, Tyler Warren can be what Sam Laporta was on absolute roids. And Cole Kmet has slightly disappointed, I'd say, for what a lot of people thought he could be. So that would be kind of crazy if Tyler Warren came in 10th overall and just wreaked havoc. That'd be kind of fun.
I think it's a lot more possible now that you're phrasing it that way than I think people are considering. In fact, I feel like most mocks that I've seen not have Genty at 10. Warren is the next option.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, I guess it does make sense. And talk about luxury shopping. Tight end is one of those positions that kind of falls in that category. I just wouldn't love it. Like Cole Kmet hasn't been great, but I think he's been good enough to address another spot first.
Hmm?
So
yeah, he's not terrible. He just doesn't. It just doesn't get open great. Doesn't run after the catch great. Fine blocker.
mm-hmm.
He's fine. He's okay. But like this is one where I think they could upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see them going DB if Will Johnson falls to 10. It's always there. After the whole Tyreek Stevenson thing, they probably want his ass out of there. But I don't know. Like, there's not a lot of options. Like, it's really it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it might almost depend on how you feel about Rome Odunze being the second option, because a lot of pressure is going to be on his shoulders this year, I feel like, with Keenan Allen out. I would say he disappointed a little bit last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like he can really be that complement proper to DJ Moore and you don't feel like you need another receiving option, then fine. But if you're not confident, if Ben Johnson's walking in and he's like, I hated every second of Rome Odunze tape, he's like, okay, maybe we do need another pass catcher, and there comes Tyler Warren. So
yeah, I like Odunze in this offense a lot.
Yeah.
And what I don't think he's fully scheme proof. Like, I feel like he has to be a part of a scheme, but I feel like he could be really good in this scheme. But yeah, I don't know. They're a prime trade back candidate. They just don't have a lot of stuff. Left tackle they could, I guess, upgrade on, but there's no left tackle here that I think is like a stark upgrade. So just do what you got to do. It'll probably be shocking regardless, but
yeah, that's very true. The 49ers, though, I feel like they can't screw this up.
No, they're in like a unique thing where like all the left tackles might fall, all the corners might fall, all the defensive tackles and edge rushers might fall. Like, they can just get best player available. They have some bad needs. Like Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons could be their left tackle. They could peel into the edge rushers, go after a Shamar Stewart. They need help on run defense. Kenneth Grant could be there. If Will Johnson falls, this is probably as far as I think he does fall, because he could be a great Charvarius Ward replacement. But man, they need to hit on it though, because they have a lot of needs. Like, they need to hit everywhere.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. After taking a kicker in the fourth round a couple of years ago, I actually had people in my TikTok comment section trying to convince me that was a good pick. I'm like, no. I cannot believe you people are fucking real. Like, there is no universe. I don't think you ever have to draft a kicker ever. Like, no. I think you just go on the fucking internet, see what dumbass is doing some trick shot kicks, and be like, hey, you want to come out and try out? Okay. And then you go from there. Like, that's it. That is kicker scouting.
Yeah.
That's it.
I will say I was first on the Young Wei Koo train of anybody on planet Earth, because I saw him hit a backflip kick at Georgia Southern. Yeah. And I was like, this is it. I remember when he got picked up by the Chargers, I told my dad to get him in fantasy football, and he sucked like early. And I thought like a loser. And now he's good. And I feel like the biggest genius ever.
Exactly. But it's true. Like, if they can kick the ball far, you'll never know how good they actually are until you put them in a game, because kicking is, there's two parts of it. There's the mental and the physical aspect. If they can kick it far, that's good. And then you just got to throw them in the game and see what happens. And that's really it.
You've convinced me. I'm mocking them. Ryan Fitzgerald, kicker from Florida State, first round. They need a kicker bad.
Jake Moody ain't that guy. Not worth the fourth round pick. Let's put it that way.
No.
But for me, I do feel like the 49ers primarily should be going after the trenches. I guess you can argue Jahad Campbell. I wouldn't, but I guess you can argue it. But otherwise, I didn't even know about that. So that's also very
he had surgery like recently. And for his whole thing being his athleticism and his impact tackling, a shoulder injury is a little freaky for that, because like that affects your tackling directly. So I'm a little weary on him now after finding that out. Yeah,
interesting. I did not know about that, but I would consider that a bad pick, healthy or not. So it's either got to be any of the top tackles. I'm cool with an interior defensive guy. Ken Grant, even Derek Harmon. I'm a big Derek Harmon guy. Or
Mm.
even pass rush. Micah Williams, Mike Green. If he's still there, who knows how far fucking Mike Green makes it. I don't know where he's going to go. But any edge rusher, I think
Yeah.
anywhere in the trenches, both sides of the ball would be my pick.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboys.
Cowboys are one I hate. Like, every time I mock out of here, I want to trade away so badly because their biggest needs are just all bad value. Like, all of them. Like, what do they need? Running back? Please do not get a Marion Hampton here. It's an awful pick. He's not even my RB2 anymore. Like, I've watched a lot of tape. Like, he's kind of falling a little bit for me. Still a high second round grade, but reaching that high on a fairly linear running back, I hate that. And then I'm also not a huge Tet McMillan guy compared to the rest of the world. So 12th overall for a guy that I think is pretty limited. It's just a big of a reach. I don't know. They're a corner or edge rusher to me. Like, that kind of feels like the pick here.
Yeah, I think so too. Or I mean, I'm once again gonna shout to the mountains about the interior guys. I think Harmon or Ken Grant would be good here too. But you in our mock last episode when you mentioned Jahdae Barron for the Cowboys, it clicked so nicely. I'm like, that would make perfect sense. So that should be one of those run up the card selections, in my opinion. If I was Dallas, like if Jahdae Barron's there at 12, I almost feel like that's great value. Like he's a player that I think could go as high as the Raiders at 6.
Yeah.
If he goes beyond 15, I'd be shocked. So it'd be good value. Immediately helps the secondary.
Yeah.
So I love that fit.
Like Jordan Lewis was a big part of their defense, and they lost him to Jacksonville. So as of right now, their nickel is looking like Mukwamu or Kalen Carson or your boy Kyer Elam. You know, he's like their third corner right now. Like, they need help. They need help. Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland cannot be their guys. Like, you need more than 2 corners. I think it's a bigger need than people are giving it credit for.
Absolutely, yeah. Those fucking pick 6 merchants.
I know.
All right. I don't think there's really much else with Dallas, though. Like, that's kind of
no, because I mean, we have another Miami team coming up that Miami felt like they could go anywhere. Like, they felt like a Tyler Warren spot. They felt like a D-line spot. They felt like a corner spot. And they still could be a corner spot. It's still a dire need of theirs, but their all-star right tackle just retired out of thin air. So,
I mean, they have to go. If they don't go tackle, like I literally wrote down anything other than a tackle is like a bad pick.
Yeah. It's kind of like Dino was talking about last time. It does seem like the Dolphins brass is high on Patrick Paul. I know a lot of Dolphins fans are high on Patrick Paul. I was personally not in the draft. I'm not that high on Austin Jackson either, who's their right tackle. And I like Aaron Brewer. I like James Daniels, but Liam Eichenberg, get him off my football field. awful football player. I don't know. And like we've talked about before, Jalen Waddle's good. Tyreek Hill might be going to jail. We don't know. Might be getting suspended. We don't know. But still, receiver's an option, but it has to be tackle.
The thing is, like, regardless of Tyreek Hill's status as far as being a free human being, they didn't even fucking use him last year anyway, so who cares? On your team, off your team, Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane are your top receivers, so who even gives a shit if Tyreek Hill's on the field? You have Malik Washington, like, he might have dropped the ball for his first touchdown ever, but he didn't do anything last year, so who cares?
Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I will not hear anybody sleeping on that guy because he's a fantastic football player. And they're about to find out.
You don't need Tet McMillan when you have Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. You might as well. That's a good comp for you. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to Tet McMillan. Oh, that's so
the only time I'll ever really parry myself here when I look at their team needs is their corners are so awful. Just go blurry for a second. Yeah, I thought I had like a concussion or something. I was like, oh no. But their corner one, we love Jalen Ramsey. You know, you don't really have to upgrade over him. But Kader Kohu and Storm Duck are currently their other corner 2 and 3 options. Cam Smith, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Bonner, the white guy. I'm not seeing a complete corner room here. I feel like they're going to get picked apart. Their safeties are Melifonwu and Ashton Davis. You think those guys over the top are really going to deter anybody from throwing deep on you? Like, their secondary sucks, actually, now that I look at it. Like, this might be a Barron or a Will Johnson pick, heaven forbid he falls this far.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they were any other organization with any other quarterback, you can argue it. But when you're quarterback that you for some reason paid however much money to a couple of years ago, and the guy has head trauma that will probably screw him up for the rest of his life, but still plays football, like you have to protect. Like it has to be at the forefront of your mind constantly. And considering it's such a big need, that should be a reason enough. But if you need any more of a reason to draft a tackle, it's that your quarterback has probably already got CTE. So, like, what else do you need?
Right.
So,
but Indianapolis, they are the next team in line, pick 14th overall. They're a little bit more linear with their selection. Like their offensive line might need an upgrade, but man, their tight end room is trash. Their defense is not amazing on the front, but it's not bad. So, I mean, really, if Tyler Warren is here, it feels like it could be the pick. Kwity Paye does not keep me from drafting another edge rusher. So, edge rusher or tight end, that's really all I can really see here comfortably.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will end up being Warren, barring a Bears selection. But I slowly convinced myself after our last episode and taking as Zaraku, I'm like, honestly, fuck Warren. I want another edge rusher. Like I think that really would be my pick if I were to do something like that again. Like, that defense would be mean. So
yeah, it would be nice. Like, man, as of right now, Drew Ogletree is their starting tight end. Unless, I mean, they did re-sign Mo Alley Cox. Big upgrade, man.
What else do you need?
That's all you need. Jelani Woods.
Dude, that guy.
You big Will Mallory fan?
Dude, fantasy creators all before last season, Jelani Woods was like, this is the sleeper this year that's going to pop off. Jelani Woods because he's so athletic. Oh my God, that guy's
never watched football before.
Didn't he have a high RAS score? He was a RAS.
Yeah, he was a quarterback. He was a quarterback that turned tight end in college.
Yeah.
Those work out all the time. And then he was tall and was fast, and everybody freaked out. But the whole like being a good football player part isn't really coming together yet. So
good Madden player though.
It's up to Drew Ogletree, Youngstown State's alumni. You know, that's really exciting. I honestly think if it's not Warren, Colston Loveland could easily be a pick here because I'm a big fan. Really good player. No one on the team can catch, so I'm cool with Loveland. Please just help your quarterback. Whatever you can do, get him a weapon.
It probably, now that you say that, their board probably goes Warren, Loveland, and then something else, and one of those guys are going to be there. Yeah, right. Yeah. Mason Taylor. That's true. Atlanta, though, I mean,
linear.
Yeah, like it's got to be an edge rusher.
It has to be. Like I would be really upset if it wasn't. If I was a fan of that team, because
what if they don't?
They had Jared Verse in their lap last year, and then decided upon the ancient Michael Penix to be their backup quarterback for the year.
What if they don't?
So as of right now, their edge rushers are looking like Arnold Ebiketie and Leonard Floyd. Yum. that doesn't. I'm not a Braylon Trice fan either, really. I know some people were. He's not that good to me. Their offense looks fine, honestly, as long as Michael Penix isn't terrible. Their offense looks pretty good to me. So really looking at it, pass rush, please. And that could look at, like you said, Mike Green could somehow fall this far. Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, Ezraku.
Pick of the litter, literally.
Pick your poison. And yeah, if it's not one of those guys I just said, burn it. Just burn the whole team down.
I think the Falcons, as obvious as it seems, this might be the most anticipated pick in the draft for me, just because of what happened last year and how it all went down. And even like the lack of moves throughout the season last year and how confused I've been with this new regime. I am so looking forward to what this pick is because it really should be one thing, but it so very easily could be something else.
Just going to be Eman Wari. It is going to be.
Dude, I will throw up.
So I'm not going to be surprised now. But yes, pass rush is the only thing that they could get and receive an A grade from me. It's the only thing. I'll give them an A if they pick any of the guys I said. Just pick one of them. You get an A. It's so easy. Participation trophy.
Literally. All they got to do is show up and hit one of the like 6 edge rusher buttons they have on their in their war room and leave. That's it.
Close your eyes and just pick one. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right.
But almost the same with Arizona to me, to a degree. They have a little bit more in terms of needs, but pass rush is like the most important thing in all of football. Baron Browning and Josh Sweat. I still don't know if that really keeps me from drafting a high-end elite edge talent. Probably not. Only thing that I really like for them is just another route winner at receiver, maybe another corner, but I don't know. I like the way they're looking with the offseason so far, though.
I'm a Greg Dortch guy, so I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with Greg Dortch. I saw Greg Dortch highlight tape on TikTok. I'm like, you know what? That guy's good, and that's it. He is though. Well, Greg Dortch is good. He's an underrated slot option.
He is good every 8th game, and he will make an impact, and then he will disappear from planet Earth. I know there's a big Xavier Weaver. Dude, the Xavier Weaver fans drove me insane last year. He's a top 10 receiver in the class. I promise. He's not. Marvin Harrison barely is at this point. Okay, like at this point,
real.
I don't know.
Marvin Harrison.
They need linebacker too. Holy shit! I didn't realize that.
They do. I thought
Akeem Davis-Gaither is a starter. Ugh, not good.
Like if Jalen Walker fell here,
yes,
I would like that a lot, especially the Georgia fit. I think in a perfect world, if that were to happen, I would be spamming the Jalen Walker button. Now that 100%. I think about it,
yeah, I like that.
Offensive then, line, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really know if there is one at this point, unless you want to go like Kelvin Banks and move him.
Yeah,
you going Gary Zabel this early?
Yeah, maybe. I'm going Donovan Jackson. Actually, fuck it. I'm going Donovan Jackson here. That's what I'm doing.
I would throw up. He's good. I've came a little higher on him recently, but 16th overall, I would be pretty upset.
Join the hive. Join the Donovan Jackson hive. Well, the Bengals, I have come to the conclusion that if it's anything on the offensive side of the ball, I will throw up. That's it.
I can only take guard. Guard is the only thing where I'm like, maybe.
Even
Cody Ford, because Cody Ford's can't start, but there is good value in the 2nd and 3rd round with guards. Like there are guys like Tate Ratledge, like that would be a fantastic pick in the 2nd and 3rd. Like get him in the 2nd and 3rd, 1st round, edge rusher, D line. That's really it. Just the front 7.
Well, they've managed with shit before, so just let Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase figure it out again and help out the other side of the ball that is just an absolute shambles. Or
we're just going to outscore you 40-35 every game. That's going to be the goal. To make the offense better.
Yeah, I guess.
Give me Colston Loveland.
No, stop. Oh, my God.
I don't
Mike Gesicki. Let Mike Gesicki eat.
He did eat. He did pretty good. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like I do like Jalen Walker here if he does fall this far with the new defensive scheme. Shamar Stewart's fun. Not a Mike Williams guy. I think the interior pass rush is pretty underrated here. Derek Harmon. Even Walter Nolan. I don't love the player, but I love his fit and like exactly what the Bengals need. So anywhere D tackle, edge rusher, I'm cool.
Yeah, I wanna go second. Like I really think I would like it. Eamon Worry. This feels like a team that could take a swing on a guy that could be high variance, and Shamar I feel like fits that description too. Like this feels like such an Eamon Worry or Shamar Stewart team to me.
Yeah. I mean, like Al Golden is just so aggressive in the way he attacks. Like, I really like to have athletes on this team, and the defense is smart. Like they communicate well, they're smart, but they're just not athletic enough at this point, and that's why they keep getting burnt. So, to get an actual athlete on this team, I don't care what position it is, just give me one on defense.
Yeah,
I wanted Campbell here badly, but apparently he's hurt, so
yeah,
not going to happen.
I wonder how that really impacts his stock. That's interesting. I got to look up on that more. The Seahawks, though, talk about a Donovan Jackson spot. I would raise the roof for Donovan Jackson in Seattle or Gary. That's it. I feel like if it's anything other than interior offensive line, once again, burn them down. I don't think you can address anything else here.
There's a big receiver hive that exists with the Tet McMillan and Matthew Golden. There's a big. I mean, I guess it depends how big of a Marquez Valdez-Scantling fan you are, but these people don't know about River Craycraft yet. They don't know. I'm
like Jake Bobo. He's got it. He's got it.
The 4.85 40-yard dash, Jake Bobo. Yeah, I mean, as of right now, they have Anthony Bradford is their best interior offensive lineman. That's awful. That cannot be. They don't have a center. They don't have either guard.
No.
Their right tackle's still not even good. They have one good lineman, and he's a left tackle. Literally, I'm actually a really big fan of Calvin Banks here to play guard. I feel like he fits everything they're doing perfectly. Like that, even Josh Connerly from Oregon, I think he can play guard. Perfect. Beautiful. Anything but Tyler Booker, and I'm in.
Yeah, agreed, honestly.
And I like Booker in certain offenses, but not this one.
Mm-hmm. Like if Geno Smith couldn't survive back here, then no one is.
No.
So you got
not Darnold for sure.
Exactly, especially Darnold.
We're seeing ghosts all year long.
My God,
it's gonna be October every month for that dude, seeing ghosts everywhere.
That poor guy is going to be doing circles in the pocket. Like I would love to see like his path per snap, and it's just like him doing like figure eights, trying to get out or trying to find open space. Like he will die in there.
But he doesn't have Justin Jefferson anymore going downfield. He has MBS and Jake Bobo. So and I love JSN. I love Cooper Kupp. Like I think Kupp still has a little bit more juice, but not downfield. Like this is going to be rough. And that was Darnold's whole game, was throwing downfield. So I get if they want to take a swing at Tet McMillan, but I think the interior line's just more pressing.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can get open if they have enough time. And if your quarterback doesn't have time, then no one's getting open. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Tampa's
weird. They're weird if Campbell's that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's that hurt, you don't draft him. And then you're like, what the hell else do they need?
Right. I feel like I might go Starks here.
I love Starks here.
I think that would be my move. They don't need anything on offense. Like their offense is fine. So their
offense was cooking. Yeah, last year their offensive line was great. The receivers, I like Jalen McMillan a lot. I think he's a great third. Don't touch the running backs ever. And then it's like D-line looks fine. Maybe edge rusher. Edge rusher is the only one where I'm like, they could upgrade. I mean, Hassan Reddick's on like a 1-year deal. I think if they go after an Ezeraku, like a designated pass rusher, kind of just let him cook behind Hassan Reddick for a year and then unleash him. That's cool with me. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything else. I like safety. I love Winfield, but they need another safety.
Yeah.
Cool with me.
Depends what's there at edge rusher, I feel like.
Yeah.
But that's really it.
Yeah, really. There's kind of pretty straightforward. Yeah, front seven. There's the edge rusher or linebacker.
That brings us to Denver.
Denver, who has been... I've only really heard 3 names, I think, total. I've heard a lot of Marion Hampton. Big high for a Hampton here. Tet McMillan, who I think you mocked there, our last one. And then Emeka Egbuka to kind of be their slot guy. Have you heard another name? Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, DB?
No, not really. It's been a lot. I mean, yeah, it's been Hampton. That's really it. Like, unfortunately, I don't even think people are considering receiver, to be honest, which I kind of
should. I mean, Cortland Sutton expiring contract. Marvin Mims shows up every once in a while. I don't think that Devon Vele really keeps me from trying to improve my slot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going after Egbuka is my personal favorite for like their scheme fit. He feels like everything that they're looking for in a Sean Payton offense, but I wouldn't be mad at running back here because of how bad their need is. And, drafting a running back in the 20s is a little bit more reasonable than drafting him at 10 or 12. So not the worst thing in the world, but I think there is better options in my opinion, but also better value later.
Yeah. This could be a trade back candidate. as well. In my
Could
opinion.
be. Yeah, they could go after a better receiver, go after a higher value running back later. Yeah.
If Hampton's your top selection, I'm peacing out.
Oh,
Send me back. Pittsburgh. Do they take
Jalen,
Shadur? He won't be there.
Jalen Milroe.
Dude, fuck.
This is the Jalen Milroe spot. They had dinner.
The Seahawks or the Steelers are like, what's it called, a brothel? Like they just all the quarterbacks that you can think of have been mocked to the Steelers at some point, and they're just walking in the quarterback brothel. It's like, oh, Jackson Dart was going into that the house with all the women in it. Isn't that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a quarterback brothel. It's just
a bunch of naked quarterbacks.
Okay. You know
so weird to think about.
I didn't mean actually fucking naked. I don't know why that was what came into my head, but it's just like, yeah, they've had Dart predicted there. They've been predicted to perhaps trade up, and then Shadur. It's like every possibility with a quarterback you could think of. I feel like Pittsburgh has been involved in that conversation,
and I don't like it, really personally. I mean, it's better value now to swing on a quarterback when you're in the 20s, because you can kind of justify that. Be like, oh, we're in the later first, we can take a swing. So I get it if all the options aren't there. I still like receiver. I'm not a Roman Wilson full believer. I think he can be okay, but if for whatever reason they wanted to get Egbuka here, cool with me. They're a running back candidate too. I don't think Jalen Warren is quite what they have in mind to be their starting running back on a run-heavy offense. Kenneth Grant, big fan of that. Mm-hmm. Aside from that, I think they might go quarterback.
Dude. I don't know. And I would laugh because fuck them. But
they might go corner. Steelers could go corner.
Who though? Like they're both.
It would be a reach. It'd be like a Hairston. It would be a Trey Amos. It would be a reach, but they could do it because I remember looking at their corner room the other day. Outside of Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay for a season.
Yeah,
that's Corey Trice. I don't know. They could go corner.
At that point, I'd feel better off going with a tackle, and then someone ends up being the swing. Like I think that's kind of what I think I would do instead, or maybe even like you said, Ken Grant, or
love Ken Grant,
whoever is available on the inside. Like someone's gonna have to take over for Hayward at some point. Like there are a lot of positions on this team that they look from the surface situated, but by next year, holy shit, there are all these holes. What happened? So maybe get ahead of it a little bit.
Their team's full of a bunch of just okay players. Like you'll look at a position and you kind of say to yourself, like, it's not that bad. But guys like, I don't know, guys like Brandon Echols, guys like Jalen Warren, Freiermuth, Mason McCormick, Calvin Austin, like they could improve at a lot of spots. I know a lot of Steelers fans love those guys, but they could definitely improve. Absolutely. Yeah. Which is why they haven't been winning games past the playoffs.
I would like to think they figure out their quarterback situation prior to the draft. I mean, Rodgers, it's literally just Rodgers. That's it.
It has to be Rodgers unless he retires.
Right. So if Rodgers is who you end up rolling with, I think Egbuka or Burden or Golden, like one of those guys, I think is 100% your pick. And then you go to try and win now. You tell TJ Watt, hey, look, we have Rodgers. We just drafted another receiver. We're going to try and win because I know he just posted a piece on his story looking for an extension. So you convince him with that, and you go from there. Just try and squeak one more year in where you're genuinely fighting for the AFC, which who knows how that would go. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, up next, the Chargers. Colston Loveland is really their biggest need, their biggest fit, the most beautiful thing that could ever happen here. Reunite with Harbaugh, get Will Dissly off my football field. That has to be the pick. But if he's gone, receiver. It kind of feels like a Ted McMillan falling this far. Hard to pass on that. Matthew Golden, really whatever you want. Just get Will Dissly off the field, please.
Yeah, I agree. And then you can even address, like you can end up with another receiver on the outside in the second round or the third round where the real value is, as we've talked about before. I think interior offensive line is also something I've seen kicked around.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a big enough need in the first to.
I just don't know who it would be, really. I mean, unless you go at this point, Donovan Jackson and is in that stratosphere, but I don't know. I don't know if he starts over Mekhi Becton or Zion Johnson to start off. I don't think he plays center. So I have no idea.
Well, yeah, it feels like a Colston Loveland spot. I think the Chargers will end up going, like their first 3 picks should probably be offense, honestly.
Yes.
Like I think their defense is that
help
well-rounded. Yes, help Herbert. Especially after the way last year ended.
Yeah. I'm not a Tyler Conklin starting tight end believer. So get a tight end, get a receiver, get Mike Williams and Johnston cannot be your starting perimeter receivers in the big 2025. So and Jalen Reagor is their depth. So yes, please get a receiver early. Like this is one of the teams that's good enough to reach. Get a receiver. Get Matthew Golden. Get Ted McMillan. Get Colston Loveland. Do what you got to do, but improve.
100%. The Packers, I had fun with last episode, taking Warren, who took a magical slide into 23. I don't know. I really have come to the conclusion that I don't want them to draft a receiver. I really believe that Dobbs, Watson, Wicks, even there's another guy there that is not awful, but he's not great. Either way, they have enough to make it work. I guess I do understand the argument that they really don't need that much else. And edge rusher, it's weird because you probably aren't getting a top guy at 23 by this point. So
it's like
you're in a pinch.
James Pierce, if you want to reach on Nick Scorton, you can. This feels like, predictively knowing the Packers as well, this feels like where they reach on a corner. Like this feels like one of those projected Maxwell Harrison, Trey Amos, one of those guys. This feels like where one of them comes up into the first. And like, I don't know, something about Maxwell Harrison. It just feels like the Packers would get him. He's a former teammate with Carrington Valentine. They need perimeter. Jair Alexander's probably going to be leaving soon. Keyshawn Nixon's their other corner. Nate Hobbs is a nickel. Like, I don't know. I feel like this could be a Maxwell Harrison spot for sure.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I like the train of thought there. They could also move back. I could see the Packers being a team that like moves back like 3 spots. Like if Baltimore is like, ooh, James Pierce, and like drools at James Pierce and they jump up, like I could see the Packers moving back just 3 or 4 spots just to feel a little bit more comfortable with the value of the defensive back.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just a weird team. Like I feel like there were people out there that thought they could have been in the NFC Championship, but then they ended up getting eliminated as early as they did. Like they're just and they look bad doing it. Like they went out bad.
Yeah. So looking at this team, they got to go pass rush. I look back again. Kingsley Enagbare is their other option. Lucas Van Ness. This sucks. James Pierce. I know he's not that well rounded, but they just need to get to the quarterback. I would probably go Pierce, honestly, if I'm them.
That's what, when we did our first mock, that's what I ended up doing, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I don't like it, but that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, like who's left? Maybe they jump up. Maybe we've been looking for trade up candidates forever. Maybe. Like it feels like no one would want to trade up. Maybe
I'd love Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams, any of them to them, but if you get through that whole hive, James Pierce, Nick Scorton, I'm not loading that. But yeah, theirs is weird.
Like Seattle could probably bump back and be okay. The Broncos, if there's someone left, like, yeah, I could see the Packers jumping up or jumping down, I guess, depending. They could be a move.
Well, like next is their rival, the Vikings, who had pressing needs in offensive line and D-line and then just went crazy in free agency, getting both. So it's kind of feeling like a pretty strong safety spot nowadays. It's kind of where, and then there's probably at least 1 or 2 in Starks or Eman Mori that would be pretty good value picks here. So kind of pick your poison because Harrison Smith's retiring soon. I'm not crazy about the rest of the team there. Kind of do it. I think that either one would be a great pick.
100%. I think, I guess maybe in a universe where like Brian Flores just wants another maniac, like maybe like another edge rusher if they were really wanted. But yeah, I maybe maybe a tackle, like
unless they're just not like I don't know. I don't know who they would replace.
Donovan could go and be a swing. He could be a guy that could plug and play wherever you need him. I don't know.
He could play over Brendel, but
Yeah. Yeah, safety definitely though. They need to plan for the future. So
I love Starks there. That's the only person I mocked there ever. It just
Yeah.
feels so right.
It does. I think the only way they don't go Starks is if he's gone.
Right, and then they can go Eman Wari, and then that's fun too.
Right.
But Houston, this has been like a very popular Donovan Jackson spot.
Mhm.
Pretty sure you'd be excited about that. He can reunite with CJ Stroud. Like it just feels right. They have a dire need at left tackle and guard. He can do both. This feels like it's it.
He's got to be a first round pick. He has to be. I could not fathom Donovan Jackson falling out of the first round. He should be a top 16 pick, but he can't get further than Houston because if Zabel goes to like Seattle, then what the fuck do you do? Like you have to go.
Like, unless they can determine with their team doctors that Josh Simmons is borderline fully healthy, because I think he's a better lineman than Donovan Jackson, but he's hurt. So it's like I would rather have Simmons on my football team, but if Donovan Jackson's there and healthy, that might have to be the pick.
Yeah, right. I mean, they need it now. Like they
need help now. It's a luxury almost when your team is bad and you're kind of planning for the future, and you can draft a guy that's not great because you're not trying to win now. But if you're a team like Houston who is playing with a young quarterback still, like it's going to be contract time soon, like they need to win soon.
Yeah.
So Donovan Jackson it is.
26 with the Rams. DB, big DB here for me, I think.
DB and linebacker, really. Like, I don't know. Linebacker isn't really a position people think about very much for any team because everyone just kind of assumes like the linebacker is kind of just fading away. And we're using box safeties now, but I don't know. Their corners suck. They need corners, and there's a lot that could kind of come up. Trey Amos, that's who you mocked them last time. I love that. Hairston again. Could see like a weird Benjamin Morrison, somebody like that kind of squeeze into the first. My boy Carson Swessinger can come into the first two. Would be a beautiful fit. But
that would be victory lap worthy if I've ever seen it.
Oh, and he's from he goes to UCLA, grew up in the area, can go to LA. He looks like an LA player. It has to happen. Yeah, it has to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think they got to be going defensive back, like, and they have really at this point. This is where that range kind of starts of like that pool. That I feel like when I envision it, there's just like this pool of like DBs that are sitting there, and they're waiting for like the 24 to 32 range, or like
there's like 6 or 7 of them.
Yes,
yeah,
and
they're all like. And I feel bad when I rank my corners because like it'll look like I'm low on Morrison, it'll look like I'm low on AZ Thomas, but like they're all within like 0.5 grades of each other. It's just like that's the way they got stacked. But I promise, like these guys are all so similar in profile that they can't really go wrong.
Right. And yeah, and I mean they can't. They could maybe get an interior guy depending on who's available, or just address the defensive line period. But yeah, they're definitely closer to luxury than not, I would say.
Right.
The Rams are. The Ravens, though, who knows?
Baltimore always feels like it's an easy team to mock for because like their schemes are so straightforward and unique that like you can look at a lineman and be like, that's a Ravens lineman. Or you can look at like a DB and be like, that's a Ravens DB. And I feel like of all landing spots for Tyler Booker, he feels like a Raven. Just let him just smush defensive tackles all day long. He has a great anchor. Like, of all things, that dude is unmovable. So I wouldn't be mad at that. They need pass rush. James Pierce is an AFC North player, like we said. Nick Scorton would be fun for them, but I don't know. That's really all I'm feeling. Interior O-line and edge.
Yeah, I see some, like, going through some of the mocks I have pulled up. I see Kelvin Banks making it this far. I see Eamon Wari and Starks being an option here. at a couple
Yeah,
of
I
them.
mean, they could be. Yeah, they could be.
But I think their top need would probably be interior offensive line, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if Kelvin Banks moves to guard, if that's what we're doing here, if he somehow falls this far, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, you'll have your pick of Zabel, Booker, whoever falls, Donovan Jackson. Like, I feel like this would be perfect. And if any edge rushers fall, get them there too.
Yeah, I mean, they could be almost BPA range in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think you can see a vision for a receiver here too. Even
I would not be pissed at Matthew Golden at all.
No,
Igbuka, like I would not be mad at Ted McMillan at all if he somehow miraculously fell to 27.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah, they're in a good spot.
BPA, I would call them.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions,
they're the easiest team to mock for, in my opinion, ever.
Yeah.
Because you can look at a player like the Ravens and you know if they're a Lion or not. Like they have like that personality that they look for so heavily. And they need an interior offensive line. They need defensive line help. There's plenty available here.
Yeah, you would think that given their recent success, they would kind of be in BPA range, but I don't really think they are. Like they have some holes that you kind of need to be addressing. Like they're not like just top of our board, we're taking them like kind of thing. Yeah. It's they have, I think, interior offensive line and edge rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, and even you could, in some universe, argue that Tim Patrick is really not your answer outside either. So
I think most universes, I think we can argue that.
So I mean, you can even pin receiver up there. So I guess it might depend on, of course, with all these selections, it'll depend on who's left. It just is one of those things where if Tyler Booker isn't a Raven, he could be a Lion.
I love Zabel there. Zabel feels like the most perfect scheme fit I've ever seen. Scorton feels right. Like this could be where we see Jahad Campbell go if he does slip.
Oh, that's a good point. I was thinking about that. Like if I was going to ask when we were talking about the Rams, and I forgot if Jahad Campbell does take a slight skid, he might be a Ram. Talking about linebackers.
Also, I think we kind of didn't talk about a certain thing with the Rams that I've been hearing a lot about. Let's go back on this. Jackson Dart is something that I keep hearing about constantly, and I hate it. I hate that so much because he's a guy that fluctuates on my QB board, but he's not good at all.
I just if I'm the Rams and if I'm taking over the Rams organization today or becoming a part of it, and I'm looking at their recent moves over the last couple of months, they signed you signed Devontae Adams, and that to me is. They signed Devontae Adams. They commit to Matthew Stafford. Those to me are indications that they want to, of course, win right now. That's all that's saying. So selecting a player in the first round when these guys have 1-2 years left max, that is not going to impact your hopes of winning in that window of time, you're wasting a selection. That's it. It's as simple as that. Especially when next year's quarterback class is way up here comparatively. So I don't know. I have been seeing that a lot too. I don't know. Like for some reason, people really like the idea of Dart being fit with McVay, but you can make that argument with any quarterback. So yeah, it just would be.
It's ugly.
It would be the opposite of what they've been. Their cards have been showing one thing. This would go against all of that. So I don't think there's any truth to it whatsoever.
They should not. But I'm hearing way too much about it. Like that him and Milroe, way too much, and I don't like that.
I don't either, in the slightest. Yeah, no way. I can't imagine McVay's doing that.
No. Washington though is fun because they have really only maybe 2 spots that where like the value just makes sense, and that's really receiver and edge rusher. Kind of just feel like they have to be the 2 things. Because edge rusher is more important, but do you reach on Nick Scorton or like? I don't know. I think if at this point if they're all gone, it's. You might have to just go to receiver.
Yeah.
I like Nick Scorton. Big fan, but
the interior defensive line, I feel like I'm not going to say they're in BPA range, but there are guys on the interior that I feel like are going to make it farther than they should based on a lot of the mocks I've been seeing.
Yeah.
So like hypothetically, the Bills are being mocked like Ken Grant and Derek Harmon sometimes. I'm like, those guys aren't fucking making it.
They should not be.
And if they are, I would love to imagine the Commanders would be like, hey, these guys can get after the passer too. I don't care if they're on the inside.
Yeah.
So
I think it just depends how much they value Johnny Newton.
right.
Because he was a lot of people loved him. I was not one of them, but I know a lot of people really liked him. Javon Kinlaw, they signed for so much money.
Yeah.
And then Deron Payne's not that good. So, man, I could see them going after it. They have a lot of guys, but none of them are great. Edge rusher, Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Farrell. Does that get you excited, really? Like, I feel like you could go Nick Scorton here. I wouldn't be mad, though, if they just go with Buka, round out that receiver room. Matthew Golden, if he somehow falls. Would love that with Jaden Daniels. But, yeah, this team is close. They're close.
Yeah.
But they have to hit. They have to hit those positions bad. Noah Brown cannot be a starter.
The thing with the Commanders, like as much success as they had, they in my universe could very easily be like a 9-8 team next year. And I'd be like, yeah, well, that's what the roster suggests they are. Like every single player on that team outside of like Marshawn Lattimore, like every third week was playing above expectation. You can't expect that again. And I mean, I'm looking at them now, like defensive back really feels pretty high priority. And like I said, you can go anywhere on the defensive line. I know in the last mock, Jalen Walker took a skid. He would be perfect here, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
I think receiver would be closer to a luxury pick.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at their defense, they got no stars. It's Frankie Louvu and like maybe Mike St. Restreau, like against the Lions. Like that's it.
Yeah, they could go anywhere, and they I think the Commanders kind of feel like the Texans from last season a little bit, where like you walk in young QB with expectations to be top 5, but they didn't really do enough to the rest of the roster to like make it better. So it would be weird to have expectations that they're just going to be better magically. But as we saw, the Texans failed to improve on their interior offensive line. We knew it was a problem. They failed to improve on it, and Stroud was terrible in comparison to his first season. So I feel like we got to really improve this defense because that was their biggest crutch, was their run defense and the pass rush. It's not better. Like they actually got worse. So yeah, they're going to have to hit hard on this draft or they're screwed.
Yeah. If Bobby Wagner finally falls off a cliff and he finally can't tackle or he struggles to stop the run, like they're going to be giving up 120, 130 yards to running back a game if Bobby Wagner has any sort of age issue. So they need help anywhere over there.
Yeah.
What's next then? Buffalo.
Buffalo. They're interesting to me because like they're another team, not a bunch of glaring holes, but like they have a bunch of guys that you look at and you're like, we could get a better guy than that in here. The safety room specifically, that is one where if E-Man Warrior or Starks fall, I'm running it up to the podium.
Yep.
If any defensive lineman that can stop the run is here, I'm running that up. Kenneth Grant, I'm running that to the podium.
Yeah.
Somehow if he falls. And then you look at receiver briefly, but that really feels like it, man. Nose tackle, safety, weapon.
Yeah. I think I've come to the conclusion that they have to address the secondary first. I think the depth in that area is just not good enough to pass up on in the first round. Like there's that pool of corners we've referred to before. Pick one from there. And you have a corner 2 going. Like right now, our corner 2 is like the most obvious issue. And then second is safety.
Yes.
So passing on, if Immune Warrior's there, please take him. He's probably the best defensive back available out of anybody, lumping the corners in. So take him. Or Harrison. Take someone that you feel like you can play right now because that's ultimately what you need. And then Grant, I don't see those guys making it, but
I don't see them going that far.
Even if they did, like I might be cool with passing on him and going defensive back and then going interior D-line later.
Yeah. So, I feel like part of it, because I only watched a few Bills games all the way through, but I remember watching the Ravens game where Derrick Henry just did whatever he absolutely wanted. There's just certain games where like the run defense was bad for like a few weeks span. Yeah. So I was like, guys like Kenneth Grant would be huge because they have Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones. or guys that like are kind of penetration style guys, but I'm not sure Ogunjobi and Dwayne Carter are really the guys either to stop the run. It kind of relies on Matt Milano, it feels like, at this point. And I don't want to do that. So nose tackle will be nice, but yeah. I don't know if people watched a lot of Dane Jackson last year. Not good.
No.
It was not good. He's not better than he was the first time around.
Right, I mean, exactly.
Jamarcus Ingram. Like, is that our other option here? So
exactly. So and the thing about that I've went to war with Bills fans is like our run defense has been a liability at times, but I never thought that we played against a team and I'm like, that was why we lost. Like every time we face Derrick Henry, he has one long run and then that's it. And then we do a good job of containing him the rest of the game. Like, yeah, sure, their first 7 points come on a 95-yard Derrick Henry run. Fine. But after that, the game is back and forth traditionally, and we bottle them up and we force other players to make a play. Like it happened in the postseason with the Ravens. Like Derrick Henry was not as much of a factor, and Lamar Jackson had the ball, and Lamar Jackson was the reason why they lost the game. So I feel like they do a better job of containing the run after there's one big blunder, and then they're like, okay, we'll figure it out now. So and it hurts when you look at the stat sheet in that sense because a big 60-yard run will inflate.
Yeah.
But
you can't have that many of those. Like you can't be allowing those, but it's not as big of a problem. I see what you're saying there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Trey Amos, man, he just feels like a Bill.
I would love that.
I hate it because he plays so similarly to Kaiir Elam that when you look at them, you're like, they look the same. But he's just better. So hopefully it's not the exact same thing. Hopefully they can. Right. They need to improve there.
Yeah, I agree.
I forgot Dane Jackson is going to be starting on the perimeter as of right now.
Yep.
You can't have that.
No, you cannot. Well, Kansas City, I mean, I don't know. Weird team here.
To me, you look at the Joe Thuney replacement or you look at left tackle. It's really it for me. I mean, I know you could add some more. Nah, they could use another defensive lineman. They could. They could go Nolan. They could go Harmon. I keep forgetting they lost some depth on the interior defensive line. And that is a problem because their defense has kind of been saving them the last few years, honestly. So Derek Harmon next to Chris Jones would be. I would hate to look at that.
Yeah. Right now it's Siaka Ika, Jerry Tillery, Mike Pennell, and Marlon Tuipulopu outside of Chris Jones. So
wow. Nope. I don't want that. Jerry Tillery. Oh my.
Yeah, I know, right?
And he might be the best one of all those guys.
Yep. That's the sick part. They could also go interior line, though. Like, I wouldn't be the most confident in Kingsley still at the moment.
No, not really. And, I mean, we don't really know who Jalen Moore is either at left tackle.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like Josh Connerly for them.
Yeah.
Because he's a really talented left tackle who also can play guard, I think. Like, he has the kind of build to play guard. He actually reminds me a bit of Deion Dawkins, where it's like he came in, everyone's like, this is probably a guard, but he could play tackle. And now he's like one of the best tackles in the NFL. So it's like, I don't know. But I love that kind of profile so much. It works over and over again. Josh Connerly feels like the fit for me.
I almost feel like it's Arante, right? Arante.
Yeah.
I feel like that would, if Connerly's gone too, like I'd be fine with that for Kansas
boy, I
City
hope they do.
Well. You don't like him?
I don't love him as much as most. There's a lot of people that love him because he's huge. But his wingspan, he's not that long. It's really weird. Like his arms aren't that long. He's not that great of an athlete. He's just a weird player. And I mean, KC of all teams could absolutely develop an offensive lineman. So if I say that, he's probably going to develop into a Pro Bowler now. But
kind of sounds like a Joe Thuney kind of guy in a way. Like
maybe
comparatively.
If he lands on like the Giants, I think he's awful. Like the Titans, I think he's a terrible player. But KC, I think they could develop him into like a really good football player.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think offensive line for me would probably be their top need after looking at it. Although, no, I think interior is a good argument. Interior defensive line would be a good argument.
I think when you have Nolan and Derek Harmon there, because they lost Wharton and they lost, who else did they lose? They lost somebody else too. And like it is a need. It is absolutely a need because they were really underrated. Guys like Wharton were. So getting another interior pass rusher, huge. It's huge.
Trenches for Kansas City.
That's how they've been winning the last few years. With a great quarterback. Like if you have good trenches, you win.
Crazy question. If somehow Loveland is here.
Yep.
Do you take him?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew your question. Loveland gets a weird rap for some reason because he was so unproductive. Yeah, he had Davis Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Davis Warren play and then come back to me because, like, I don't know, man. I feel Zach Ertz here. I keep feeling it over and over again. I feel Zach Ertz. I'm like, if I can get Zach Ertz with Mahomes,
oh yeah,
I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when, like, who's the backup? Baylor Cup, Noah Gray. Like, I like Noah Gray, but that's not my starter going forward. He's just a good 2.
Yeah. Noah Gray is good for like one catch for like 19 yards, and it might be a touchdown.
Yes, and I always think it's Justin Watson.
Yeah,
I always think it's the exact same player. I'm like, I'm a little racist towards them, but
anytime there are 2 white receivers on a team,
yes.
You never know the difference. You just
I need one to have like a tattoo sleeve. That's the only possible way I can understand. Ben Skoranek. Oh, it's Cooper Kupp. He caught another one. No, that was Ben Skoranek. My fault.
Oh my god, that was the fucking worst. No, the funny part is about the Rams too is like there was that span of time when Allen Robinson was on the team, and I remember there was this running joke about how he wore a long sleeve white shirt under his jersey, so Matthew Stafford would throw to him.
I remember like didn't he play a few games and didn't get like a single target?
Yes, and then he started wearing the white shirt and he caught a ball, and then Twitter was like, "Yeah, it's because he thinks he's white now."
That's awful.
Twitter is such a fucking vile place.
I love it.
I love it too. All right. Well, Philadelphia, I mean, I've come to the conclusion.
Pick of the litter.
Yeah, they're just if they don't go defensive line, some sort of pass rusher, then they're going to draft a receiver. That's really how I'm thinking about it.
And like, you'd like to replace Milton Williams, but having Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you can get like I don't even mean they can get Darius Alexander, TJ Sanders. They can get that kind of shit later. You know what I mean? Like, so when you look at a receiver, Matthew Golden falls to the slot here, or you put Devontae Smith in the slot, let Matthew Golden and AJ Brown go run deep, Devontae Smith underneath and with Goddard, Saquon running the ball behind that offensive line. They should not lose a game if that happens.
Ever again.
No. Or if James Pierce falls here, you have guys like Nolan Smith, James Pierce, Jalen Hunt. I liked him a lot. Like, edge rusher feels like the pick. I think they need an edge rusher with size. Now that I look at it, like Nick Scorton would be a good fit, but they're in position to take a better player than that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think they should just go after best player available. If a corner slides, maybe.
I think for them to have a catastrophe season again, they would need Brian Johnson to get rehired, and then Jalen Hurts would absolutely forget how to attack a blitz. That would be the only way. Like, so yeah, that feels like I'm not going to say easy pick because there are a lot of guys I could go with, but positionally speaking, team need wise, we know what they like to do.
Yep.
But that wraps it up. I don't think I have any closing thoughts.
No, I mean, it's a weird draft because like we said last time, this is a draft for starters. It's not a draft for stars. So like, you look at guys in the late first, you always want to go after upside, but at this point you might just be going after a guy that can plug into your team and play tomorrow. So people are going to get pissed off at a lot of selections, but I actually do like this draft, despite what a lot of people think.
It's unique. It's going to be very unique. And
defense, offensive line.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
And that's what makes it fun. It's just not, there's not like the first 15 picks aren't like, oh yeah, we all know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, like 4 quarterbacks. Yeah. So 4 quarterbacks and some edge rushers. So this will be fun.
It will be. Well, as always, if you guys enjoyed, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share. Make sure you're checking us out on our socials down in the description. Our individual socials are down there as well. And we will see you in the next one, which I believe will be the last one. I could be wrong, but one of the last ones until the actual draft. So we're all counting down the days. But we'll see you later in the next one. Peace.